But out of hand, the country is soon in crisis. The American Heart Association is changing its recommendations for women considering hormone replacement. We'll take a closer look tonight at pawn shops and gun sales, the National Rifle Association, and the sheriffs who disagree. And on the road to anywhere, ABC's Mike Lee, tonight from West Africa, going out in style.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. The president saw the Pope today, and the Pope told the president in no uncertain terms that research involving embryonic stem cells was an evil on the same level as infanticide. The debate about experimenting on human embryos, which might lead to a cure for some very serious diseases, including Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, has been on the president's mind for many weeks and has, as you know, become a very intense political as well as a moral argument. ABC's Terry Moran was with the president at Castel Gandolfo in Italy, and tonight is in Rome. Terry.
Well, Peter, George W. Bush is the fourth U.S. president to meet with John Paul II, and for this president, the Pope had a very specific and very pointed message.
The Polish Pope greeted the American president, gently taking Mr. Bush's hand as they made their way to their private meeting this morning.
This is so beautiful.
The setting was splendid Castel Gandolfo outside Rome, the traditional summer residence of popes. Aides said Mr. Bush was in awe of John Paul as he sat ramrod straight, listening as the Pope waded into the current controversy surrounding embryonic stem cell research. John Paul specifically included such research in what he called evils of modern life that had led, he said, to a tragic coarsening of consciences, and he urged the president to take a firm stand.
A free and virtuous society, which America aspires to be, must reject practices that devalue and violate you and I.
The president did not directly respond, though he said later at a press conference with the Italian prime minister he would heed the Pope's words.
I do care about the opinions of people, particularly someone as profound as the Holy Father.
This meeting was more than a moral consultation. The president and his advisors are aggressively courting the 44 million registered Catholic voters in the U.S., about a third of the electorate.
But polls show that Catholics are divided over this issue as they don't always follow the Pope's teaching on other subjects. So in the end, Peter, the president is going to be left to make this decision by the lights of his own calculations and his conscience, which John Paul II tried mightily to reach today.
And Terry, as important as stem cell research was to the Pope, there was a lot of talk today, one more time, about missile defense.
That's right, Peter. After yesterday's meeting with President Putin, after which Mr. Bush and Mr. Putin reached an agreement which would tie the development of missile defense system to talks about reducing offensive nuclear weapons, Mr. Bush made one thing clear today. However those talks go, he is going to go forward with missile defense with Russia or without it, although he said he wants to give Mr. Putin some time with this subject.
Many thanks, Terry Moran in Italy tonight. Before we go away from Europe, in Germany today, after 60 hours of work, which clearly exhausted some of the participants, 178 countries reached an agreement to ratify the first international treaty on global warming. The United States was not one of them. Here's ABC's Bob Jameson.
It's so decided.
There were cheers for the countries that voted to keep the International Treaty on Global Warming alive. But something quite different for the delegate from the United States.
And we will not abdicate our responsibilities. Mr. President, thank you.
Critics of the U.S. position say if the treaty doesn't include the United States, how can it reduce global warming?
The United States stands alone in the world as really the world's climate outlaw. Our coal-fired power plants, our gas-guzzling SUVs and automobiles put out more global warming pollution than any other country in the world.
The Bush administration has said repeatedly it opposes the treaty because it's fatally flawed.
I don't think that it's a surprise to anyone that the United States believes that this particular protocol is not in its interest.
The administration says it would hurt the U.S. economy by costing jobs and raising the price of energy $2,000 per family. It exempts China and India, even though within decades they will be the world's biggest polluters. And the administration believes it will produce little change.
If every nation on Earth that had signed the Kyoto Protocol actually lived up to its stipulations, temperatures would only be 1/10 of a degree Fahrenheit cooler than they would have been otherwise. That doesn't give us a whole lot of bang for the buck.
Even though both sides have staked out clearly opposite positions, it's unclear what will really happen once the treaty is implemented. Bob Jameson, ABC News, New York.
Other news in the overseas briefing today, the Indonesian parliament has pushed the president out of office on charges of incompetence and corruption. President Abdurrahman Wahid is refusing to leave the presidential palace. His popular rival, Megawati Sukarno Putri, has already been sworn in to replace him. In the Barents Sea today, a close-up of the nuclear submarine Kursk, which was doomed a year ago after an explosion on board. Divers are getting down to the work of preparing the sub to be raised to the surface. On the Italian island of Sicily today, they are trying to stop the unstoppable. Mount Etna has been erupting for more than a week now. Major towns are threatened. The ash and the smoke have forced an airport to shut down. In northern Pakistan, more than 100 people died after heavy flooding, most of them when a mudslide crushed a small village there. And in London today, at the International Whaling Commission meeting, Japan, which wants to overturn the ban on whaling, has been attacked for using foreign aid money to buy votes from countries in West Africa and in the Caribbean. In Washington today, there was a dramatic reminder the U.S. has a lot to do if it wants to be ready for a bioterrorist attack on the country. A few weeks ago at Andrews Air Force Base, former and current government officials participated in an exercise called Dark Winter. It was designed to see how the U.S. might respond to a smallpox attack. Not very well. Here's ABC's John Yang.
This was the scenario. In Oklahoma City, 20 confirmed cases of smallpox, more suspected in Georgia and Pennsylvania. The White House is in crisis. Former Senator Sam Nunn played the role of the president.
The enemy is invisible. The enemy is insidious and spreading everywhere, and you don't know how to contain it.
Mr. Nunn had at his disposal a makeshift National Security Council of former federal officials. His first questions were about public health. The answers were grim. There is no cure and vaccine for only 12 million in the United States. Oklahoma Governor Frank Keating played himself.
It was one of those situations that got more horrific as more information rolled out.
As they tried to limit the outbreak, tensions quickly arose between health officials and the military, who would get the vaccines, and between federal and local authorities, who was in charge.
I said, I'm going to close the airports. I'm going to close all roads in and out of my state. One of the generals from the federal family said, what authority do you have to do that? And I said, I just did it.
It was too late. They were soon told the outbreak would spread to 25 states, and 300,000 people would be infected within 2 months.
While the details of the smallpox outbreak were hypothetical, the participants say they came away with very real lessons.
I would like to tell you that the people sitting around the table were just amateurs, but these are the real players, and these are people who had the knowledge, and I can say without any question, this country's not prepared.
The politicians are not prepared, and the public health system is certainly not prepared. John Yang, ABC News, Washington.
In the national briefing today, the mayor of York, Pennsylvania, Charlie Robertson, and 8 other white men pleaded innocent to murder and conspiracy charges in the shooting of a black woman during race riots there in 1969. Robertson, who was then a policeman, is accused of handing out bullets and urging whites to kill blacks. The Walt Disney Company announced today that it is buying the Fox Family Channel. Disney, which also owns ABC, will pay $3 billion in cash for the cable network and take on $2 billion in debt. The Fox Family Channel reaches 81 million homes in the United States, and it will be renamed the ABC Family Channel. One of the country's great writers died today. Eudora Welty was 92. She wrote short stories and novels, many of them about a Mississippi town that resembled her own birthplace. In 1973, Ms. Welty won the Pulitzer Prize for her novel, The Optimist's Daughter. She was a very private person who said she led a sheltered life, but she did also say that a sheltered life can be daring as well. And in Washington today, thousands of people packed the National Cathedral to pay tribute to Katharine Graham, the longtime publisher of the Washington Post. Former President Clinton and Vice President Cheney shared a pew. Mrs. Graham's former executive editor, Ben Bradley, said in his memory, Mrs. Graham always seemed to be laughing and loved the news. The congregation agreed. Mrs. Graham died on Tuesday at 84 from injuries suffered in a fall. When we come back, the stolen guns in the pawn shops. What is the issue between the National Rifle Association and the sheriffs in Florida? We'll take a closer look. There is a new report on hormone replacement therapy, and it may be harmful to some women. And on the road to anywhere, the ultimate tribute.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by GMC.
Ford says their F-150 is built tough. But our engineers will tell you the GMC Sierra has more horsepower, more towing capacity, and more front headroom and rear legroom. If you want all that from an F-150, well, that is tough. For great offers this summer on remaining 2001 Sierras before they're all gone, hurry to the pros at your GMC dealer today.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Hey, neighbor. I whipped up a delicious crab cob salad and these mouth-watering crab portobello mushrooms. Nice mold.
At Red Lobster, we love preparing crab in fresh new ways. So come in now for a festival of crab. Red Lobster, go overboard.
Only new Cascade scent expressions are heat activated to release a fresh aroma into the air while doing the dishes. It can make your kitchen quite inviting. Scent expressions, new from Cascade.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go right now. Gotta go.
I have to go now.
If an overactive bladder makes you go and go and go, go to your doctor and ask about Detrol LA.
Gotta go. Gotta go. Gotta go.
Just one daily dose works for 24 hours to help control bladder contractions that cause those sudden urges and reduces accidents and bathroom visits.
Right now? Hey, I don't have to go.
Prescription Detrol LA. Individual results may vary. You shouldn't take it if you have certain kinds of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache.
And I don't have to go right now.
Ask your doctor about Detrol LA for overactive bladder when you've always got to go.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at another test of the National Rifle Association's political influence. This week in Florida, the state's sheriffs are having their annual conference. Very prominently on their agenda is a pilot program to begin next month that allows the police to set up a statewide database on guns which are found in pawn shops and how long the information about a transaction involving a gun can be kept. On a national basis, pawn shops represent only 11% of gun dealers, but 21% of guns used in crimes turn out to have been bought in pawn shops. ABC's Jeffrey Kaufman reports tonight that some of the sheriffs and the NRA do not see eye to eye.
When Florida began planning its statewide database for pawn shops, the idea was to keep records of everything pawned for 2 years.
I need you to sign it and date this, please, ma'am.
Giving police a new tool to track stolen goods, including guns. Then along came the NRA.
As it comes to guns, the statewide database will be absolutely useless.
That's because the National Rifle Association said keeping records of pawned guns is the same as registering them.
I need a signature and then a right thumbprint in that box, please, sir.
Which they believe violates the Constitution's Second Amendment.
What concerns you about this database?
Gun registration, pure and simple. That's our only issue with it.
The NRA wields enormous political power here in Florida, so lawmakers agreed to a change. All pawned merchandise will be kept in the database for 2 years, except guns. Gun records will be erased after just 2 days. It's a plan that has outraged police chiefs and sheriffs across the state. Many of them, like Brevard County Sheriff Phil Williams, are longtime NRA members.
The NRA is going to leave law enforcement one-legged when they're trying to investigate gun theft, a violent crime with the use of a gun, and that gun is subsequently pawned at a pawn shop.
Even some pawn shop owners think the NRA is wrong on this one. Are you an NRA member?
Yes, I am.
Does the NRA speak for you on this issue?
No, they don't. If my guns were stolen, I would want to be able to find them.
The NRA says as far as it's concerned, the issue is closed. But Florida's Attorney General disagrees.
You should not be able to treat a firearm that's pawned differently than a microwave that is pawned.
The state has just decided to take another look at the database, but until further notice, in Florida, it will be easier for police to track old TVs and secondhand guitars than guns. Jeffrey Kaufman, ABC News, Titusville, Florida.
There is a major new report today that says hormones may not be good for the heart. We'll have that story when we come back.
Welcome to a hot spot where pain and discomfort dwell. It's down at the end of Acid Street, the Heartburn Hotel. Well, your stomachs are burning, baby. The acids are churning, baby. You're getting heartburn all the time. Well, you change the way you're eating. You're getting exercise. You're treated for 2 days a week or more. The acid starts to rise.
Prescription Prevacid can mean 24-hour relief from acid reflux disease. Prevacid turns off tiny pumps that produce acid. It has a low occurrence of side effects, such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Ask your doctor if Prevacid is right for you.
So leave your heartburn behind. Yeah.
It's LensCrafters' best $99 offer ever. Right now, get a complete pair of glasses with DuraLens, our most scratch-resistant plastic lens for only $99. The $99 DuraLens event. This one you don't want to miss.
It takes a special event for some guys to get rid of their gray hair. But for other guys, every day of their life is special. And they live it with Just for Men. More than a hair color, it's a hair rejuvenator. Just for Men gets rid of gray in 5 easy minutes. Its vitamin-enriched formula brings back a thicker, healthier, natural look. Every day of your life is special. Live it with Just for Men.
Today I made an omelet.
I picked an apple.
I sent the fax.
This is about chemotherapy and living your life. This is about Procrit. If you're a chemotherapy patient and you feel tired and weak, ask your doctor about Procrit.
I played a game.
Procrit is a natural way to regain red blood cells lost during chemotherapy. And more red blood cells can mean more strength.
I caught a fish.
Procrit is safe and effective. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Procrit is for patients with non-myeloid cancers.
I went to the store.
Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
Play the market and lose. Can you sue your broker? It's paid off big for some. Now that the market's soft, will an avalanche of lawsuits follow? Watch Good Morning America tomorrow.
In the medical file tonight, the government is allowing Johns Hopkins University to resume federally funded medical research on humans after the medical center promised to be more careful. Last week, the government suspended research at Johns Hopkins, or suspended funding for it, which is one of the country's leading medical research facilities, after a healthy young woman died during an experiment. The Elan Pharmaceuticals company said today it has the government's permission to begin the second phase of testing its vaccine for Alzheimer's disease. This means the vaccine has been judged to be safe for humans. It does not mean that it works. And researchers at Yale University have performed the first transplant of a human nerve cell to treat multiple sclerosis, or MS. MS is a degenerative disease for which there is no cure, and the researchers hope the transplanted cells will help repair damaged nerves and brain cells. Today, the American Heart Association changed its recommendations on using hormone replacement therapy, which is prescribed for more than 10.5 million women every year. The new recommendations say that women with heart disease should not take hormones just to prevent heart attacks and stroke. They might actually cause harm. Here's ABC's John McKenzie.
For decades, the prevailing wisdom in medicine was that hormone replacement therapy, a daily supplement of estrogen and progesterone after menopause, was good for a woman's heart.
We're giving you estrogen to help protect your heart.
The evidence was convincing. The hormones raise levels of good cholesterol and lower levels of the bad. And some studies showed a statistical link between the hormones and lower rates of heart attacks. Then scientists began to look more closely.
It's really only in recent years that hormone replacement therapy has been put to a real test. A true scientific study where women are randomly assigned to hormone replacement therapy or placebo.
In clinical studies of women with heart disease, the very women considered most likely to benefit from hormone replacement therapy, researchers found, much to their surprise, after 4 years, there was no difference in the number of heart attacks between hormone users and non-hormone users. In fact, during the first year, there was actually a slight increase in the risk of heart attack and blood clots among the hormone users.
It could be that the effect of hormone replacement therapy to increase blood clotting outweighs the potential benefit it has.
The new guidelines say that women who've been taking hormones for years without any problems do not need to stop, but that women should not start this therapy just for their heart. Instead, researchers suggest using hormone replacement therapy as it is commonly used to treat postmenopausal symptoms, including hot flashes and insomnia, and to reduce the risk of brittle bones. In short, for the proven benefits of hormone replacement. John McKenzie, ABC News, New York.
When we come back, our final report in the broadcast this evening, the first of a collection of stories on the road to anywhere.
If you have osteoarthritis, there's reason to celebrate. It's Celebrex.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Celebrex specifically targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. Celebrex relieves arthritis pain plus inflammation and stiffness too.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Celebrex should not be taken if you've had aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reactions due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines, or certain drugs called sulfonamides. In rare cases, serious stomach problems, such as bleeding, can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
Celebrate, celebrate.
Powerful 24-hour relief from osteoarthritis pain, inflammation, and stiffness. Ask your doctor about prescription Celebrex.
Celebrate, celebrate, come on and celebrate.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Facts of Life by Lysol. Fact, you can run, but you can't hide from cooking odors. Fact, new Lysol Plus Fabric Refresher is the best because it's the only aerosol fabric refresher that kills odor-causing bacteria. Life demands Lysol. That's a fact.
We rescued this old boat years ago. It's how we planned to spend our retirement. Then I had a heart attack. I worried we'd never set sail. Turns out my cholesterol was high.
How will you take care of your high cholesterol and heart disease?
I began exercising and eating better, but it was still too high. So I asked my doctor about adding Zocor. He told me Zocor, along with diet, can really get your cholesterol down. And Zocor is proven to reduce the risk of a heart attack among people with high cholesterol and heart disease. Now my cholesterol is right where it should be.
Zocor is a prescription medication and is not for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems. Because serious side effects can result, tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience and about any medicines you are taking. For more information about Zocor, talk to your doctor.
Do it for yourself. It's your future. Be there.
I'm Paul Lendman. Coming up next on K2 News, car theft numbers paint a bad picture for Portland tonight. How we match up and find out the Rose City's worst places to leave your car. Protesters take their rally to Pioneer Courthouse Square, and Regis Philbin with some last-minute tips for tomorrow's Portland Millionaire Contestant Tryouts. K2 News is next.
Finding the echoes of Hollywood in its heyday, out there in the Outback. ABC's Mike Lee on the road to anywhere. Tomorrow on World News Tonight.
Finally this evening to explain on the road to anywhere. Some time ago, our veteran foreign correspondent Mike Lee suggested we consider an experiment, by which he meant let him go off and wander for a while without the usual trappings of a full television news crew. We agreed, as you're about to see. And Mike took off for 50 days with only a digital camcorder, a cell phone, and a laptop computer, just looking for interesting stories. It's the best way to practice journalism, and we now have several of his pieces in the can. Tonight, Mike reports from the city of Accra, the capital of Ghana, in West Africa.
The streets of this capital are hot and crowded. And for the most part, people here pay little attention to a foreigner. They're too preoccupied trying to earn a living. Ghana is one of Africa's promising new democracies. Poor, but enterprising, so many people have something to sell. The sidewalk is a convenience store. In this, of all places, I ran into an art student from Beverly, Massachusetts. Christina Hampton is researching her thesis. The topic, fantasy coffins. That's what they call them here. In Ghana, you can be buried in anything, from a tuna fish to an elephant to a sandal.
Since I'm an art therapy major, I'm trying to find a focus on how fantasy coffins, them being made so artistically, is therapeutic almost for the mourning families.
Christina took me to a funeral that looked more like a rock concert. 57-year-old Daniel Teddy, who died of malaria, was a merchant sailor. His coffin, a 7-foot-long cargo ship. Whether you're a farmer who wants to be buried inside a giant turkey or an executive inside a fancy shoe, these coffins have become a symbol here in Ghana of the kind of life led by the deceased, his or her status in society. It's all about making the journey to the next life in style. The list goes on and on. Airplanes, cocoa beans, Bibles, peppers, lobsters, lions, beer bottles, even a replica of your own store. It's a huge industry here and expensive. A coffin can cost $400, 1 year's salary. Christina has made a guitar coffin and hopes it will be used someday by a music fan.
It doesn't matter how you fit the person inside or how comfortable. If you could curl them up in a ball, any way you can make the people fit.
Mr. Teddy, the merchant sailor, was carried away in his cargo ship, floating on a sea of friends and loved ones. At the gravesite, Christina Hampton said she wished she could phone home to describe it all. But the nearest cell phone was already spoken for. Mike Lee, ABC News, Accra, Ghana.
That is our report on World News Tonight. Coming up this week on World News, Mike Lee will continue on the road to anywhere. Tomorrow, out there in the outback. Paying the poor to move out of town and get work elsewhere. And the ferocious eruption, one more time, of Mount Etna in Sicily. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good evening and good night.
ABC's World News Tonight, nominated for more news Emmys than any other nightly news. No wonder more Americans get their news from ABC News.
Tonight, one man, 2 missing wives, cases that keep running cold. The police have nothing until a 28-year-old clue falls into place. You won't believe the secret his own brothers kept hidden. Downtown tonight.
Connecting you to your world. This is K2 News.
Good evening from K2. I'm Paul Lenman. Steve Dunn is off tonight. A day on the river has turned tragic. A teenage boy drowned in the Sandy River at Oxbow State Park near Troutdale. The body of the teenager was pulled from the river about a half hour ago. Witnesses say the youth went under at about 4:45 this afternoon. When he didn't resurface, they called for help. The Multnomah County dive team and rescuers from nearby Glen Auto Park responded, but some rescuers had trouble getting to the scene by boat because of low water. It took them 15 minutes to locate the body in the river's mid-channel. The name of the youth has not been released. Investigators still trying to figure out what caused him to go under. The man police say is a suspected serial killer was arraigned in Eastern Oregon this morning. Michael Bray answered questions from a judge by closed-circuit television. He faces charges in Eastern Oregon that include eluding police officers and trying to drown a police dog. But investigators in Washington and Idaho want to question him about the murders or disappearances of 4 women and the shooting of a 5th. Bray was arrested Friday after a 2-hour chase that ended in the Snake River. Today, bail was set at $3.5 million. An extradition hearing is set for Friday. Police and protesters clash in downtown Portland this afternoon. This began as a peaceful march to the